I'm Andrew, and for our myth busting project, we chose the myth that playing Mozart to babies will boost their intelligence. Myth, sometimes called the baby Mozart myth, is the belief that if infants listen to Mozart or other classical music, they will become smarter, raise their IQ, or have better brain development. A lot of parents and educators have believed that exposing babies to classical music early in life can give them an intellectual advantage. Okay, there's a couple of reasons why I think it's pretty widespread. And so for the first one, it really connects strongly with the desire for easy answers and quick fixes, which is in one of our toolkits. And this is because parents will naturally want the best for their kids, and especially when it comes to intelligence, learning, and their future success. So the idea that you can simply play Mozart in the background and make your baby smarter is extremely awesome. So it sounds easy, it's harmless, and it sounds like it would be effective, which makes people really want to do it and share it. So the second thing from the toolkit that I thought would be really great to tie in there is the exaggeration of a kernel of truth. And this is because the original study that made the Mozart effect a widely recognized phenomena was conducted by Francis Rauscher, Gordon Shaw, and Catherine Kai in 1993. And so the researchers observed a temporary improvement in the performance on specific spatial tasks after the students would listen to Mozart. And these improvements were very short-lived. They were about only 10 to 15 minutes. And they never indicated that they would increase IQ or any sort of intelligence in any way. Over time, that small result got super exaggerated. It was kind of like a game of telephone. It just kind of kept getting passed on, and it just turned into something completely different. And so, so this tiny truth became stretched way beyond what evidence was actually found.
The idea that Mozart music will increase a baby's intelligence comes from a study from 1993 where college students listened to Mozart music and then performed spatial reasoning tasks, and the students that listened to Mozart had increased spatial reasoning for about 10 to 15 minutes, but this didn't involve children or measure their overall intelligence, and it was only related to spatial reasoning, and it was a very short-term effect. Later research was also very consistent with this, and it found that it did not improve your overall intelligence, and any small improvements were likely due to temporary increases in mood or alertness, not the music itself, which can be achieved by any positive stimulus that makes you happy. Experts also emphasize that real cognitive development comes from active learning and experience, not just passive listening. Several misunderstandings help explain why this spread. People overgeneralized the original findings and confused the correlation with causation and assumed that because Mozart was a genius, his music might make other people smarter.
Kind of take a look at science and what research says. Scientific consensus. Most psychologists and researchers agree that Mozart effect is a myth. Originally, the study in 1993 only showed a small temporary improvement in spatial reasoning, and it was also done on adults, not babies. Later studies found no strong evidence that listening to Mozart increases intelligence or IQ. So overall, scientists agree that simply playing Mozart for babies doesn't make them smarter. When talking about myth versus reality, or just myths, the myth is that obviously listening to Mozart boosts your brain development and intelligence, but the real reason is different. However, music can improve your mood and help you feel more alert. And when people feel confused and energized, they may perform slightly better on certain tasks, but only for a short amount of time. Also, this effect isn't special to Mozart. Any music or activity someone enjoys can have the same result, and not just playing his classical music. Real long-term benefits come with actively listening, like practicing an instrument and not just listening. The impact of the myth. I feel like believing this myth can have real consequences for individuals, parents. Like for individuals, like for your child or whomever, parents may be spending more money on products like baby Mozart CDs, expecting their child to become smarter. And also for society, some governments have even funded programs based on this idea, and which can misdirect education and resources. For science, it shows how research can be misunderstood or exaggerated when when shared with the public. Why this matters? Obviously, I feel like this matters because it's important to challenge the myth, because it helps people like make decisions on being real and like not real and fake, but real and what's maybe a myth or what's not true. With like evidence to support that as well, and also prevents wasted time, money, and effort. Most importantly, it focuses on like what actually happens, what actually supports learning, like active engagement, practice, and education. To conclude everything into one, I feel like listening to Mozart is enjoyable. It can help mood and focus, but doesn't necessarily increase intelligence, especially in babies. And the Mozart effect is a great example of how scientific ideas can be misunderstood and turned like either which way or skewed.
Personally, I've never heard of anyone who actually believes this. I asked around and people had never heard of it. And to me, it doesn't really make sense anyways. But the biggest thing that I can connect this to is how scientific research can really be taken out of context and be misunderstood by the public. And I think it makes us a good reminder that we need to think critically and we need to look at the studies ourselves and read through them before just accepting what we see as the truth.
Overall, the baby Mozart myth became popular because it offered parents a simple solution. It grew out of a small piece of real research, and it was heavily amplified by media. Even though the claims sound convincing, the evidence does not support the idea that playing Mozart to babies significantly increases intelligence.